Oh God, that's still up there. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me for another office hours training. What technical difficulty to start? I'm Crystal L. Gunn, and thank you again for joining me for another office hours training. I am your financial strategist and small business advisor. Part of my job as that strategist is to help you have some aha moments, to be it on the personal side or the business side, and to help you create a solid foundation for your business and a solid financial relationship, right? Those aha moments, those self discovery moments that I help you to have to see what no longer serves you so that you can release them. All of that helps with breakthroughs. And as you go through this transformation process, right, breakthroughs are necessary because that's where the shift starts to happen. You're going to continue to operate the way that you've always operated. If those breakthroughs aren't realized, if they're not happening, if those aha moments don't come about. And all of that is where the magic happens, be it in your personal finances or your overall business. Today, I want to talk about this is really going to apply to anybody, but I want to talk about these scenarios and strategies that we create in our minds that keep us from elevating to the next level. I always talk about the journey, right? And how we're here for elevation, and everyone's elevation and next level is different, but we're to get there. And you cannot get there by yourself. I can't stress that enough. You can't get there by yourself. But often I come on here and I talk about conversations that I've had with other people, clients, consultations, whatever. Today's not going to be any different. So let's just get to it. I had a conversation with someone a month ago. And for the record, most of my clients and consultations are with women because women ask for help more than men. And I'm not getting into the battle of the sexes, why men do it. That's not what this is about. But I have some consultations with men, but men don't usually come back for the coaching, even though if they found the consultation helpful, they'll want to do the things, figure some things out, and then they're like, okay, well, I'll set up another consultation later, and which is fine. So this particular individual, a guy, we had a conversation, and he has a few businesses, right? And so we talked for a good while, and he talked about where he was in these businesses because it's discovery too, and I'm asking questions, right? And all through the process, I'll ask questions, but I'll also give insight and suggestions. And again, things to make you have those aha moments and to think of something, think things differently. So we're going through this process and we're talking about these we're talking about the different businesses. And throughout it, he mentioned how he was feeling really exposed, right? He was feeling really exposed. And it was uncomfortable. You know how sometimes people will do an uncomfortable laugh and they're laughing, but they're really uncomfortable. And he would He would chuckle and he would laugh or he would make a joke, but he was really exposed. And like, this is a no judgment zone when you're dealing with me. So I'm always going to make you comfortable. I'm always going to tell you that, yep, I'm going to laugh at the jokes and we're going to do the things because I know it's difficult for people to ask for help. Anyway, so he would do this thing. But anyway, he has these several different businesses, right? And he's really stretched thin. And and none of the businesses are realizing what they should because he's stretched too thin. And so the more we talked about it, one of the things that I asked him was this particular business. I said, okay, well, you need to put that one on pause. And we went down some things and financially and what it was costing, but it wasn't making money. You're doing all these things. And then let's use the tools that you have with this business for something else that you can get revenue that is not just covering the cost of things. So you're actually seeing some revenue. You're actually seeing some net revenue, right? Because that was one of the other things. He needs the money and you need money now, right? So he has this business and we're having this conversation. I said, well, and he agreed. I was like, yeah, I do need to put it just like on pause. I said, you're not giving up on the business. You're just putting it on pause so that you don't have all of the expenses associated with that business while you build these other two businesses. And then we come back to this one. He thought that was a phenomenal idea. He said, yes, I will absolutely do that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then again, we talked about some other things. And we talked about, I said, well, it seems like when these new opportunities come, because, if you're out there and you're making things happen, opportunities are going to show up, right? And he has a lot of connections from a lot of different things that he's done. So opportunities will show up. And then you don't officially pause this business over here, but it kind of goes to the back seat because now this shiny new penny is over here, right? Well, then now you're working on this one, and then this shiny new penny comes over here. So now this one goes into the back seat as well. So he was never really maximizing and building the business to the full potential. So one of the things that I said to him, and I actually wound up saying this to another client who was actually a client the other day, a new client. Sometimes we get previews of things that we're supposed to do. And you can see it clear as day. Now you're not given all the steps to get there, but you see the end result. You see it clear as day. It's a preview though. It's not for you to do today. Because what happens is if you try to do it today, you don't have the money, you don't have the resources, you don't have the people. There's things that you're supposed to learn before you can do the thing. And so you wind up trying to do the thing today. And you're not successful at it. Right. So as my new client said, she was like, yeah, I can see the thing. And it's supposed to be these hundreds of thousands of people that come. And then I do the first event and the hundreds of thousands of people don't show up. Now I feel like a failure. Right. And I had to use the example. I have a organization, United Community Solutions, and we're about community economic development. So financial education, small business development, the community at large, coming in through collaborations, being the rising tide that lifts all boats in the community, promoting home ownership, all of those things, right? The program was downloaded to me in 2014. Okay. Downloaded to me in 2014. I wrote it. High level, I could see it. Not only is it supposed to be in this, in one of the communities in Detroit, it's supposed to be in, 4 communities in every, urban city across the country. So it wasn't just about going into this one city. And so I know, but I got it clear as day. And I could see the results. I could see how it will impact the community. But I couldn't do it in 2014, right? I couldn't do it in 2014. Everything it was given to me, it was a preview. Here's what you're supposed to do, but there's a journey that has to happen until then, right? Until you can kick it off. I literally just kicked that program off the end of last year. And it really now is starting to pick up steam. I wrote it in 2014. It was a preview. So sometimes we're seeing these previews, we're getting these downloads, we're getting these previews of what we're supposed to do. And we think that we're supposed to do it right now. I didn't have the resources, I didn't have the connections, I didn't have the experience that I needed in order to be able to do this program in 2014. And when I look back, because I didn't know it then, but when I look back, everything that happened from that download to when it was shown that it was time for me to do it, everything had to happen. Like, the story is crazy. Everything had to happen. But had I tried to do it in 2014, I would have failed. I didn't have the connections. I didn't know half of the stuff. Trying to be able to do something community economic development wise, I didn't have what I needed to have in 2014 to do that. So I would have failed and I would have beat myself up. So you got to recognize when something is a preview, just like they do movie previews, right? Okay, you see this movie preview today, it's not coming out until Christmas. We'll give you a preview, right? So sometimes you will get a preview. Write the information down and then start to pay attention to the journey that you have. And I can only say this from going through the thing, right? I couldn't have said this in the beginning. I can only say it having gone through it and being able to look back. Oh my God, I had to do everything that I had to do after that download, the jobs, the meetings, the connections, the all of the failure, the failures, which I say aren't failures, they're lessons. So all of that had to happen in order for me to be able to do what I do right now. That piece, that program that I'm doing right now. So had this conversation. He was going to put this business on pause. Thought, yep, absolutely, absolutely, positively. Well, circle back. I wound up sending him a text like, hey, just wondering where you are based on what we talked about in that consultation. So he calls me and we're talking it through. He did nothing. He's still running that business, putting out that energy, doing that work that isn't bringing him a profit. It's just breaking easy because he's made the scenario up in his mind that if he puts that business on pause, pushes it to the back for a minute, that others are going to see him as a failure. And he's going to feel like a failure, but that others are going to see him as a failure. So his ego jumped in and I said, oh, that's your ego talking. And he was like, no, you're right. It's definitely my ego. And a lot of times our egos are keeping us from realizing our true potential, right? So my message to you today is just a simple one. So here's what's interesting. It's the ego and it's the fear because he still hasn't pulled the trigger on the thing. I know I need to, yep, because he said he wanted to do the coaching, he wanted to do, I know I need it. You say all of the things that I need to hear. You're gonna hold me accountable. So he could say all of these things that he knows that he would get from me, that he knows that he needs if we're doing coaching. Still hasn't pulled the trigger. Right. And I said to him, I said, listen, whether you do the coaching with me or not is irrelevant. You need somebody. And the reason, and you hear me say it all of the time. The reason is because when you're going through the thing, when you're working in the business, when you're going through, I don't know, your state of depression, your financial storm, whatever the thing is that you're going through, you're sitting in the middle of it. you can't figure out how to get out of it. That's where that coach who can see from the outside in and can give you a hand and help guide you out of it. That's the power of coaching, right? Now, everybody's not going to work for everybody. You got to find a coach that works for you. You have to, right? You can't be mad when someone tells you the truth and now you want to take your toys and go home, right? But the other part of what he had done was he's created these scenarios, right, in his mind. And he talked about what other people would say, what other people would think. And I said, "Oh, you think if you put this business on the back end, or if if you put this business on the back end, or if you put it on pause, that someone's going to think less of you." And so he got to the point where he was able to admit all of that. I said, "You've created that scenario in your mind." I said, "Let me tell you something. People ain't even thinking about you like that." And it's not, that wasn't a diss, but people aren't really even concerned with you like that. And the people that matter would understand and would never think bad about you. They would support that decision if that's what you made, and if that's what they even knew that you had done, right? So we create these scenarios in our mind of what's going to happen and how I'm going to look to someone else if. And so we try to hold up this image out there where in the background we're suffering in silence, which then makes everything worse because we won't do the very things that we need to do in order to resolve the problems, to fix the situations, and to elevate to the next level. And in that instance, that's a form of self-sabotage, and you're being the gatekeeper of your own success. It's like, I use this analogy sometimes where I'm just talking about finances and you're trying to get your finances together. And it just works in every area. Like it's like you're crossing the border, right? You're trying to cross the border, and then there's the border patrol. The border patrol is trying to stop you from crossing the border. They're going to ask you for ID. They're going to ask you what you're doing there. They're going to ask you for all of this stuff, all of this paperwork. That's how it should be. But their goal is to stop you from crossing that border. But on the other side of that border, if we're using the analogy of your finances, of your business, on the other side of that border is your success. But you have all these things blocking you or delaying you crossing that border. But you yourself are part of that border patrol. And that shows up as self doubt, as ego, as wanting and caring what somebody else thinks about the journey that you have to take for your life and for your business. So you winds up being the number one border patrol, the number one reason that stops you from crossing over that border into your greatness, to your success, to your next level, right? And that coach is going to help you to see those things and clear those border patrol out so you can walk in to where you need to be. But it is work. So I just want to say today, stop sabotaging your own success. Stop caring about what other people think. Stop creating scenarios in your mind about what someone else may think. And really, what other people think about you, it ain't none of your business anyway, right? Stop allowing the ego to step in and keep you from realizing your greatness. Stop allowing what you think others will think, because you've made that up in your mind. Stop allowing those scenarios in your mind to keep you from your next level, to keep you from crossing the border. Because the thing that's happening a lot is if you're going through a thing, you're trying to survive. And the decisions that you're making aren't always the best decisions for you, but you need something now. I have a client who needs to sell his business. Well, needs to put the business on pause. And he says, "Oh, I have somebody that wants to buy it. If they buy it, if they come with the money, you know, right now I'm gonna sell it." I said, "Well, how much is it worth?" Because we have a tendency to look at our business value based on what's sitting at that account. Because we don't know how to do a valuation. So I connected him with somebody. I said, "Well, go have a conversation over here. Get that valuation done to see." Because this person that's saying that they will buy the business might know that the business is worth a whole lot more. But because you're sitting in the middle of it, because you're in the middle of a storm, you will make decisions that aren't in your best interest, right? Because you feel like the world is imploding in on you. You got to talk to somebody and you got to get some help with that. Stop being the gatekeeper of your success. Stop being the number one border control to keep you from crossing the border into your success. It's okay to fail as long as you're failing forward. It's okay. And here's the other thing. They always say when you're going through something, that's when you get to find out who's really in your corner. So the people who, if you close your business, if you fail at a thing, if you have to pivot, if you got to go back and get a job, whatever the thing is that you're thinking somebody's going to say something negative or laugh at you or whatever, they're not your people anyway. They're not your people anyway. So you need to not deal with them. And times like this will show you that. And then you need to redefine your relationships with people. If the people that you talk to the most aren't helping you, aren't adding value, aren't supporting you, why are you spending so much time talking to them? So there's no favorite things today. There's no next steps. Just get out your own way. I guess that is the next step. Get out your own way. Get out your own way. Stop being the border patrol to your success. Stop self sabotaging the very thing that you're supposed to do. Stop allowing your ego to take control of what it is that you're trying to accomplish, what it is that you're trying to do. You get somebody to talk to about it. Um, because what you don't want to do is end up sick, old, whatever it is, and now you can't do it, and you have all of this regret. I should have gotten the help. I should have sold the business. I should have gotten that coach. I should have dot, 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 whatever the dot, dot is, right? You don't want to do that. Get out of your own way. I guess that's the next step. Get out of your own way. You deserve more than that. Remember, life is about elevation. It's a journey. You're not designed to necessarily take. There's some part where you have to take the journey by yourself. There's some steps and some things that you have to do by yourself. But don't let ego tell you that you need to be by yourself in this thing, that you need to figure it all out. You don't have all the answers. So embark on the journey, right? Embark on the journey. Get out of your own way. Commit to yourself. Walk the journey. Get the help that you need. You got to talk to somebody. Again, if it's not me, that's fine. But I see too many people sitting in the middle of a fire, sitting in the middle of a storm, and all they got to do is reach their hand out. But they won't reach their hand out and accept someone putting, grabbing that hand and walking with them, pulling them, pushing them, encouraging them along the way to get the things done that they need to get done, that they want to accomplish, to help them in their elevation. Stop it already, right? Just let go. Get the help that you need. Stop the self-sabotage. I promise you it will be worth it. This information has been helpful. Please subscribe to my channel and be sure to turn notifications on so that you don't miss a training. If you're in need of personal or business strategy, let's talk about it. The link for scheduling is in the bio. In the description. Always give yourself some grace. I don't even have the slide thing to pull up, but always give yourself some grace. Always give yourself some grace. Keep striving for your next level. Never give up on you. Invest in you. I promise it will change your life forever. If you got the download, it is for you to do. You just have to wait until you get the signal, the signs, the clues, right? In order to do it. If the thing that you're trying to do right now, you got to download. If the thing that you're trying to do right now feels like you're pushing a car uphill with the parking brake on, that means you're not supposed to do it right now. When it's time, doors are going to open. People are going to show up. People are going to call you. Opportunities are going to arise. All of the things, and all you have to do is keep walking through the door. It's a journey. Stop trying to skip over the journey that goes along with it. And again, give yourself some grace. Keep striving for your next level. Never give up on you. Invest in you. It is the best investment that you will ever make. I promise you. And it's not going to be as painful. It's not going to be as painful. So I'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Peace. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. Be sure to join me for the private online Q&A immediately following. The link is in the description. And if you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn notifications on so you never miss this opportunity. Thank you again, and I will see you